as that guy who makes music my generation will never fully understand. Another one. So, fourth time around, it's the same old, same old. Is that leaderboard hasn't changed, won't change until we got 8 in the books. This is round 6, the raid. It's a quick breakdown of the rules. Gate touches are A-OK, even running over them a little. But missing a gate, that's bad. Or upsetting a gate, like knocking it out of place. I also count that. Don't touch the rigs unless they're rolled over or they get stuck. Rollovers, missed gates, getting stuck, gets reset to the previous checkpoint. And reversing is okay because I can't grasp why reversing isn't okay. Anyway, it's pretty simple. So we're on to the 4th competitor. Currently sitting 4th is Daphne, the TRX-4 Sport. And Daphne just assaulted this course. And it was dissimilar to the feel of doing it with Zoidberg. With that 4-wheel steer Capra, it felt like everything was going really fast all the time. With the Sport, it never feels like I'm going very fast. But, and a small note here. Well, I don't remember that. Like, that thing doesn't seem like it was always there. That's like 3.5 tons of fill material. So I went through the previous runs, and between gates 7 and 8 is only about 4 seconds. So I just tacked 4 seconds onto Daphne's time. I don't think there's going to be a situation where 2 finishers are within 4 seconds, so I don't think it should be a problem. In hindsight, I'm thinking that it's these sections, these little linking sections that are more like trailing than crawling, where Daphne, who never came out of first gear during this whole thing, just moves with much greater speed. I don't know if it's readily noticeable to people just sitting watching it, whereas I had to run it and film it and edit it and watch it again as I record the voiceover. So I've seen this more than a few times, and on the day didn't feel very fast. There's kind of that old statement in racing where if it looks slow, it's probably fast. And to me, Daphne didn't feel especially speedy. Some of the sections, she's losing a little grip. The day prior to these runs, it did something it never does here, and it rained. See, I didn't count that gate hit there because on the timed run, I didn't come anywhere near it. In between the timed run and the filmed run, I forgot which direction the arrow pointed, so I was trying to clear it on the wrong side, despite doing the 2 runs within about 15 minutes of each other. But Daphne is making short work of most sections. I think I've come to the conclusion now here at the halfway point that what would make more sense for my sanity would be to do the filmed run first and then go back and do the timed run, because when a competitor posts up a quick time I feel like I need to, I don't know, really overdo it to try to match the filmed, to get the film time to come close. Daphne also, in her timed run, had, I think, just one rollover. On right, just at the first part coming up, entering the side hill. And trying to replicate that is nearly impossible. It's hard enough maintaining some semblance of continuity where the shots merge together somewhat seamlessly. I don't think I can plan a rollover that happened incidentally. So, if you'll remember the issues Jolly Green, who is also a TRX-4, had at that section, which is I think gate 45, I don't understand why there's so much more steering available. They have steering servos that are roughly equivalent in terms of torque. If anything, Daphne has less weight down low. She just has knuckle weights in the front. Right there, I fell off on the timed run, which added a few seconds, but took it a little slower on the filmed run. So, I mean, yeah, I guess it would really make sense to do the filmed first, because then, you know, doing it kind of in pieces, it's all continuous, but, you know, I got to stop and move the cameras. I have to pretend like I'm 4 cameramen. Like that, I was much higher up the rock on the first run to clear that gate, and came through gate 50 there much higher, so much quicker. So then I felt, oh, I'm going too slow. I've tried to figure out how to film this tunnel portion, and it's just impossible, so it just gets omitted. So attempting to make up some of the lost time, or what I perceived was lost time, I just kind of blasted down the face of that. But I mean, Daphne took it like a champ. That would have rolled most other rigs. And this section proved to be no issue at all, even with tires that were a little caked with mud. The Growlers picked up a little more dirt than some others. Their tread blocks are pretty tight. Like right here, that first section of slipping is just because the tires are so loaded up with mud that they have to get cleared out. I tried to wait until everything dried out a little, but it wasn't really drying out. So I gave Daphne some allowances, a little more hit on markers on filming than what I would allow on a timed run. I'm pretty strict with them, and I don't look at the clock at all. I start it, and then it goes in my pocket, and it doesn't come out again until I stop it at the end of the run. Everything is just straight through. And surprisingly, I did manage to clear this section, though I thought that was going to fall into the tunnel. I cleared that section. That was a one take. Some sections, not so much. It was mostly the sections like right here. I thought, oh, I'll set up a low angle so I can just repeat it if I mess up. But even with muddy tires, right up and over, and then right here on this section where there's that sheer block, you kind of have to get a tire hooked up across the top of the block right here. And she got it on there, and that was just a straight over. There's a little bit of an editing hack coming up right here after gate 71, where I get in the little inside of that little root sticking out. I cleaned it, and then right there, one wheel just dropped off that block because I was looking at the camera and not at the truck. So that's 100% my fault, and I couldn't get two clips to seam back together because I couldn't remember where the truck was sitting. But Daphne was remarkably well behaved. I was saying that Blue Sky High is probably the best descender I've got, but I don't know. I think that crown is up for grabs. That doesn't count as a gate strike because that's gate 80 and I'm just passing 79 right there. So I'm not going to penalize hitting a gate where the course wraps back over itself because I'm the idiot that laid out a course that wraps back over itself. I don't know how that didn't flip over and get stuck under the bridge, but here we are. Like, see, if I had just backed up a little farther, could have saved about 5 seconds right there, but it never needed to happen in the first place. So Daphne continues to just bash and blast her way through. You can't hit a gate if you completely fly over it. The muddy tires climbing damp wood made for a particularly low traction situation. So she just kind of hugged the line there. And then this section, I mean, these clips, I think one of the clips is like 0.7 of a second because she was going so fast. I couldn't have done better or worse there, I don't think. And we are already wrapping around to the end here. You might be noticing by the clock that was relatively brief. And coming across the line to finish it, Daphne the Sport with a pretty brisk run. But before we get to the times, so the shocks have been changed from the TRX-4 high lift shocks to Desert Lizards of the same length. And the way they want them set up for sprung is a long spring, soft spring on top, or in the droop configuration where you have two soft springs, one above and one below the piston. And this was how I had it set up for some time. The problem with that is the way I run the shocks is inverted. So what I had the idea to do was set it up with the soft spring between the piston and the quote-unquote bottom of the shock, and then a medium short spring where the long spring would be. Upside down droop. And what I feel this is the key to the whole thing. Because Daphne, our venerable TRX-4 Sport with the long travel shocks, went out onto that course and ran a 12:40.84, which puts her about 45 seconds behind Zoidberg and miles ahead of everyone else. And it can really, like, look at how did that stay so stable? That can be the only thing. That's the only thing that makes any sense to me, was that shock setup just made her so much more stable than she was before that she went out and put down an unthinkable time. So currently sitting second, Daphne the Sport, looking good on the day. And next up will be Lil Yellow the Ecto, and I hope for as good of a performance, and I hope you check back in to see that one. Oh, right. Like and subscribe. Thanks.